first of all, Bobby, it's good to see you again.
Good to see you too, my brother, man. Thank you for this.
Willow Run High School, which isn't there any longer. They're over at Ipsy High School.
Yeah.
But a lot of them still remember you. They still hear good news about you.
Thank you.
And one of the good things is that you've made an inspiration out of a lot of people.
You know, that's important to me, coming from where I came from. And we go back a long way, man. We go back so many years and so many memories of the old neighborhood and the old high school and all the wonderful bandmates I used to have, man, and just the memories of all the great musicians that were in Ypsilanti that made great music, man. I just thought that, I just felt like whatever happened in my music career, man, it all started in Ypsilanti. And you never really forget where you come from and all the influences they gave me. So I appreciate you saying that I made some kind of an impact in the community, man. I appreciate that.
So what made you pick up the horn from the beginning?
Long story short, I couldn't afford a musical instrument in elementary school. So I was a part of the school rental program, man. And by the time they got back to me, I wanted to be a drummer. Snare drum is loud, you can bang on it and everything.
We all want to be a drummer.
And by the time they got around to me, the only thing left was a trumpet. So I really had no choice in the matter. So I picked up the trumpet and it was easy to play. A fella by the name of Larry Gore, I don't know if you knew him, up in Ypsilanti, he taught me how to blow a trumpet and play a trumpet before I could even hold it. I was too small to even hold it. He'd hold it for me. And the first song I ever learned how to play was this. Downtown. That was the first song I ever learned how to play, man. And my hands were too small to hold the trumpet. Larry Gore would hold the trumpet while I did the fingerings and all. So I owe a lot to the city, man. City of Ypsilanti.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you definitely are a modern day Louis Armstrong.
Oh my goodness, that's some tall, man. That's some tall grass to stand in, man. But I appreciate that. I appreciate that. God's been good to me, man.
So you've traveled a lot around the world. You've done a lot of things. Yeah. What has been your best experience?
Just so we can recap, I've either toured, recorded, or performed with 19 Grammy-winning bands. And I've been around the world a whole bunch of times, and I played for 3 presidents just on my own. And I made enough money to send both of my kids to medical school, man. God bless us to raise 2 doctors on what I make as a local musician. So, but the biggest thing by far was the 2001 World Series, right after 9/11, all that stuff. All that stuff happened, man. And the major leagues could have called anybody, any one of 1,000 superstars. But they called my house, man, and they asked for me personally. In fact, my wife answered the phone. We were riding down the street, and Rob Hiller from the William Morris Agency called my wife's phone. He didn't even talk to me. Called my wife's phone and said, "Listen, we're going to give Jesse McGuire an opportunity that he cannot refuse." Number one, we want him to play the Star Spangled Banner to open up Game 7. That was in Phoenix, in my own backyard, for Game 7 of the World Series against the Yankees and the Diamondbacks. And on top of that, because of all the stuff that was happening in the country at the time, he wanted him to play "God Bless America" during the 7th inning stretch. He said that's gonna be 4 minutes, 4 solid minutes of worldwide TV. It'll make him famous overnight. Sure enough, that's exactly what happened. There was 150 million people watching me play that anthem live, and it went all around the world.
Were you nervous?
I'll tell you a story. I try not to get nervous before big events like that, because you can let the magnitude of the event overwhelm if you're not careful. My wife and I were watching a world championship figure skating, and I'm a Michelle Kwan fan. She was a world champion at the time, and she was backstage and she was pacing. You could see the tension on her body and the nervousness in her face. And I said, "She's nervous. Something bad's gonna happen." Sure enough, she went out on her first jump and she fell. While I was backstage for the World Series, my wife Donna, I had 3 TV shows trying to interview me before the anthem, and I don't talk to anybody before the anthem. Inside Edition, Current Affair, and one of those other shows that was on at that time, I can't remember. But they were all trying to get in my dressing room. Donna was like, "No, I don't want nothing to take his focus
Right.
off this thing. So she kept him out, kept him away from me, still trying to, keep my concentration and all. But that was the biggest thing that I've ever done. Second to the Super Bowl parade. I had never seen when I played the Super Bowl parade for the Philadelphia Eagles when they beat the one and only world championship they ever had. It was a couple of years ago, and I played the playoff series and everything. I never dreamed. I thought the Daytona 500 was the biggest thing I'd ever seen. There were 300,000 people just in the stands. Not to mention the people that were watching on TV. But I live with these eyes, I saw 5 million people standing in front of me, downtown Philly. And the amazing thing about it, the reason that they call me to play football games in the wintertime is because I can play in the cold. I'm from Michigan.
Right.
Playing the marching band and all that stuff. It's cold up here.
Right.
And there's an ice company, Bag Ice, that is in Phoenix, and I used to go into their cooler to practice. For those cold games. I dressed like I was going to. Here it is, 90 degrees outside in Phoenix, and I'm in a cooler at 20 degrees just to practice for these games that I have to play back east. I set this horn on top of a block of ice in their cooler, which is 20 degrees. Let the thing freeze solid so that the valves won't even move. Then I take out my stopwatch, hit the stopwatch, and see how long it would take me to warm up just enough to play the anthem halfway in tune in below freezing weather. And when I played that Super Bowl parade, when I started the anthem, it was 28 degrees. When I finished, it was 25. That front came in that fast. In 2 minutes, the temperature dropped, 3-4 degrees. But I never seen anything like it, and I was just humbled, man. When you get into that kind of company and get that kind of recognition, you remember the people that you grew up with, man. The amazing Johnny Lawrence and Morris Lawrence Jr. God bless his, rest his soul, who taught me everything about how to make music live and move and breathe. I learned that right here in Michigan, in Ypsilanti and Ann Arbor, Michigan, from some fantastic mentors. So I owe a lot. And all those big things I've ever done, ever thought about doing stuff, I owe to Ypsilanti and all the people that remember me and supported me while I was out in Phoenix.
We appreciate that.
Never give up, man. Who would think that I could play, the Star Spangled Banner with Bill Clinton 5 feet away, or Ronald Reagan. You remember that?
Yeah, we do.
Johnny Lawrence and I, played together and played for Ronald Reagan in 1988, right here in Detroit when Bill Lucas was running to be the first elected black official to serve as governor. Ronald Reagan came. I remember that. Then George W. Bush played for him, and countless other senators and all these other people. Man, let me tell you something, man. God made us a promise. He said, your gift will make room for you. Not just in church, but on the stage, in the theater, at the bar. You understand? In the lounge. It'll make room for you to use and manifest your gift in any way that God has given you to do it. And when that door swings open, man, you walk through it, and then God gets the glory for it.
Bobby, you still Bobby.
Still the same, man.
That's the
man,
beautiful
doctor,
thing.
It's just hard. I went to seminary after I moved to Phoenix and got this great big old lofty doctorate degree and all this stuff. But I still know what it tastes like to eat a Spam sandwich.
Yeah.
Do you hear what I'm saying? I mean, I know what it's like to eat Spam when it was round.
Right.
But I also know what it feels like to eat a $50,000 a plate dinner sitting next to the president of the United States, and I had 2 of them.
Right.
One for me and one for my wife. I know how that feels. I know the dichotomy, man, and
Right.
I know how to abound and I know how to abase.
Right.
If I never play another note, if I ever make another dime, and I know that God's been good to me, and I have to spread that goodness and that kindness on to other people. So man, I ain't gonna never forget where I come from, bro.
Well, I believe that, and you surely have done it.
Thank you.
And it was really
Thank you.
listening that you play on this new album of Johnny Lawrence. He's a really good mentor, isn't he?
Johnny, Johnny Lawrence, if I had room down here, I'd bow down to him right here.
Yeah.
In this room. You know, because he was my mentor. We did some traveling together, man. And he was my mentor. I mean, I remember that trip to Daytona Beach, man, with that lady with the gun. Oh, Jesus, man. And just so many countless trips, man, to Governor State Jazz Festival. We won awards and stuff. I remember that. And I remember, you know, the things that we learned from Dr. Lawrence. And I was happy to see Johnny take over that program after Morris Lawrence passed away. And we take those things with us and we use them, you know, and just in everyday life. It's a philosophy and it's a way of life, and making music come alive and make it, you know, live and breathe and move. And I'll tell you this, and I know time is short, but I played lead trumpet for Wynton Marsalis for 2 years. Did 4 world tours with him. Some of the greatest musicians in the world, great musicians in the world, and they would just sit there, you know, and play the ones like dun, 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 dun. Sound fantastic, but the music didn't breathe. Did you understand?
Right.
It didn't live. It didn't make you do this, you know. And Morris always taught us that, man, if you go and hear a big band play, and they standing there, they're just sitting there playing, and they're not doing this, you know, something's wrong with that band.
Right.
They could be technically perfect, but the music isn't living and breathing. And I always do this sometimes, except in the studio, because you can hear it in there on the microphone.
Right.
I'm always doing this, you know, or some part of my body is moving. That's what excited me. When I'm looking at Johnny out here, you know, I'm starting to jump around there, miss notes and all kind of stuff. But Morris taught us, man, something on your body has to move when you play, and that makes the music move and breathe and gives that beat locomotion. Man, he taught us all of that. And when you hear me play something as simple as the Star Spangled Banner, that's Morris Lawrence. That's Johnny Lawrence. That's Tyrone Bayless. All of those people, man, that are doing well, you know, right here at this moment. So I owe it all to him, man. I ain't nobody.
Well, I'm not gonna take nothing from you, and Johnny isn't either. While you was out here, he was rocking to the beat.
Yes, he was.
And
great person.
he was
great
giving
mentor.
all homage to you, because you are good at what you do.
Thank you.
And like I said, I mix no bones when I said you're the modern day Armstrong. We thank you.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.